Hello students, I am Sonia Nayan, your biology educator for class 10, and in this video we are going to cover control and coordination part 2, which is chemical coordination in animals. That is, we are going to discuss today endocrine system in human, endocrine system in animals. Hope you all are doing well. Now let's start with the lecture. First we have the content of the video, what we are going to cover in today's video. Okay, and these are the topics of today's video. We will discuss hormones, then importance of hormones, endocrine system in male and female, and important hormones and functions. These are the topics which are important for your CBSE board examination. And now this picture is showing one person is shorter in height, the other person has got good height. So why so? Reason for this we will know in an upcoming slide. Now we can start with the lecture. Here first we have hormones. Hormones are the chemical messenger produced by glands in the endocrine system. Hormones are the chemicals, okay, they're chemical substances and they act like as a messengers. In our phone we have messengers. What is the function of messenger? Sending and receiving messages. Same function is done by hormones in our body. They are the messengers. They send message from one body part to another body part. So hormones are the chemical messengers produced by glands in the endocrine system. What are these glands? Gland is any body part, any body organ which secretes something, which releases something. Secrete. Okay? Secrete means release. The body part, the body organ which releases something is gland. Now, for example, we have discussed digestion, nutrition part, that we have salivary glands and salivary glands secretes saliva. So, they are the glands. They secrete saliva. Same way we have in our skin sweat glands. We have sweat glands in our skin. They secrete sweat. So they are also glands. So these are the example of glands. Gland is any body organ which secrete a chemical which secretes something. Now you know what is hormone. Hormone is any chemical messenger. You have to add this term messenger. Okay, as they send information from one body organ to other body organ. Next we have this gland. Hormones. Where does hormone come from? Hormones come from glands. Glands are the body parts which secrete these chemicals, these hormones. So this is the basic idea behind endocrine system. In endocrine system, we have this hormones and glands only. We are going to discuss hormones and glands in this whole topic, endocrine system in male and female. So first we are trying to understand what is hormone, what are glands? These are the basic things. Next, we have that they are secreted directly into the bloodstream. As we are discussing endocrine system, in this we will stick to endocrine glands. In our body, we have three type of glands: endocrine gland, exocrine gland, and the mixed glands. Exocrine glands are the glands which have tube-like structure, which have duct to transfer their secretion from one body part to other body part. Like in salivary gland, we have some ducts which opens into our mouth, and through those ducts the secretion will come into mouth. This is simple. But today we are going to discuss endocrine glands. Hormones are the secretion of endocrine glands. The chemical substances which are secreted by endocrine glands are the hormones. We are studying hormones. The secretion of endocrine gland, which is hormone, are directly secreted into the bloodstream. They don't have any kind of duct, any kind of tube for their secretion. They secrete their chemical substances, hormones, directly into the bloodstream. This is the logic behind endocrine glands. So we can write down here that endocrine glands secrete their, let's say this is the hormone secreted by this endocrine gland, and this we have a endocrine gland. This secretes this hormone. Let's say this is H hormone. It is secreted. So now we have idea that endocrine glands secrete their product directly into the blood. Okay, so as they directly secrete into the blood, then blood do this work for them. Blood will carry that message, that hormone, and that hormone through blood travels to their target, travels to the other body part where they perform the their function. Now what I'm trying to say you that endocrine glands are present at one place and they secrete hormone. Okay, and that hormone will act on any other organ, on any other body part. So let's say this is the endocrine gland, this is the body part where we need hormone. Okay, and this is the endocrine gland which is going to secrete that hormone. Understood? Now what will happen? Let's say this is hormone. This hormone will be secreted by this endocrine gland, and then this hormone will travel through the blood. Okay, by the blood it is carried to this target. This is the target, this is the body part where this hormone is required, where this hormone is needed. So this hormone is carried by the blood to the body organ, to the target organ where it is required, where it is needed. Now if we try to draw some figure here, what we can draw, let's say this is our gland and this secrete hormone. Okay, and next this hormone is carried by bloodstream to the target organ. So let's say this is the target organ. Now this is gland. Hormone is secreted by gland and then this travels through blood to the target organ, to the body part where this hormone is required. And this thing we will discuss in next slide, that which hormone is secreted to which part. For now you have to just make your basic concepts clear to understand this chapter in detail. We have an idea that hormones are the chemical messengers. They are produced by endocrine glands. Endocrine glands are the body parts which secretes hormone. This much is clear to you, I know. Now they are secreted directly into the bloodstream. Again, this is very important line, because endocrine glands do not have any type of duct. So they secrete their secretion, they release their secretion directly into the blood, and then blood will carry that secretion, that hormone, to their destination, to their target body part. Hormone play a crucial role in maintaining homeostasis, growth and development, metabolism and reproduction. CBSE often asks you what are the importance of hormones. We have to prepare this thing. If we are studying hormone, our body have hormones, so they must be having specific roles. There are many roles of hormones in our body. These are of utmost importance for our body. Hormones play a very crucial role in maintaining homeostasis. Now, what is this homeostasis? This is a new word for us, and this is very important term. What is homeostasis? And homeostasis is the process through which our body maintains internal stability. We have a glucose level, blood glucose level, that is maintained through the process of homeostasis. And our body temperature, we have a certain body temperature. We have a range of body temperature 36.4 to 37 degrees Celsius. This is the normal healthy body range, temperature range. These are all these things are maintained in a stable, in a healthy range through the processes, various processes, and all those processes comes under homeostasis. Next, and this is done by hormones. We know growth, cell division. Okay, so hormones are responsible for these functions. Now, metabolism, reproduction. Okay, for all these things, hormone are needed. All right, metabolism like digestion. Okay, down of complex particle, big particles into small particles, simpler particles, all the chemical reactions which are taking place in our cell, like okay, like photosynthesis we have discussed in life processes, is also a good example of metabolism. All right, glycolysis, breakdown of glucose molecule, all these things come under metabolism. Next is reproduction. Okay, so these are the essential properties of a living being. Okay, and these functions are performed by hormones. Hormones maintains these processes of homeostasis, reproduction, growth, metabolism. Okay, they regulate these processes. And how they regulate these processes? This we're going to cover today. Okay, for now you have a basic idea like what is hormone, why we are studying these hormones, why we have hormones, and the target molecule, target organ, blood stream, endocrine glands, okay, importance of home. You have a basic idea now. Now we can move to the next slide. Here we have this importance of hormones. Now, in our body, various type of hormones are secreted, and each hormone has a specific function. If we see overall effect of hormone, what is the effect of all those hormone? Under hormone importance, we have these points. First is homeostasis. Next is physiological process regulation, coordination of body function, response to stress, and reproduction. These are important functions of hormones. Let's start. First is homeostasis. About homeostasis, I have already told you that homeostasis is the process which maintains the internal stability of, like, we have a blood glucose level, and there are various processes which involved in maintaining this glucose level, healthy temperature range, blood pressure. These are the things which comes under homeostasis, and these things are maintained by hormones. First point you have to write homeostasis. Hormones maintain homeostasis. Next we have this physiological process regulation. Hormones regulate these physiological processes like metabolism, growth. In growth we have cell division. So the growth and metabolism, all these processes comes under physiological processes. So these processes are maintained by hormones. They ensure that these processes are happening properly. They maintain their rate. So in metabolism, this regulation part is very important. Everything has to be in a proper range. So metabolism rate is regulated by hormones. Next we have this coordination of body function. Coordination of body function is also done by hormones. Now this function of coordination, hormone coordinates between different body functions. Coordination is when different organs work together. They work together harmoniously. They work in a harmony. So this is coordination. And as we know, what is the function of hormone? Hormones are like a messenger which carry information from one part to another part of body. So we can say that they are helpful in communicating between the different body parts. They help to communicate body parts. So this is how they help in the coordination of body functions. They ensure the communication between different body parts, and their help in their proper functioning. This is how hormones are involved in the coordination of body functions. Next is response to stress. This is very important. In stress conditions, certain type of hormones are secreted, are released in our body, and those hormones helps to fight or flight in stressful conditions. Whenever we face any stress, our body physiology changes. Okay, our heartbeat increased, we start sweating. All these things happens due to hormones. Hormones play a very crucial role in response to stress. These things which happens on facing a stress conditions, these are the stress response. Sweating, increase in heartbeat, all these things are occur under stress condition, and these are the stress response. And the reason behind this stress response is hormone. There are certain hormones which are secreted during this stress condition, and those hormones are secreted by adrenal gland, adrenaline or noradrenaline. These are the hormones which are secreted during the stress condition. We will also discuss this in more detail in upcoming slide, like the stress hormones. For now, you just have to remember their function in response to stress. Next, we have the reproduction. Okay, now we are going to discuss endocrine system in male and endocrine system in female. Okay, we have covered hormone and importance of hormone. Now we will see endocrine system in male and female. Here we have this endocrine system. As you know, endocrine system consist of glands and body parts. There are many glands present in endocrine system, and glands are the integral part of endocrine system. So we have these glands in human. This is diagram A, human male, and this is human female. Now first we will see endocrine system in male. Endocrine system in male, if we see, first we have this pineal gland. Pineal gland is located in our head near to the brain. Then we have pituitary gland. Pituitary gland is located again near to the brain. Hypothalamus is also located here nearby. So these are the three glands which are located in our head: pineal gland, pituitary gland, and hypothalamus. Now, one more thing. This hypothalamus connection between nervous tissue and endocrine tissue. Hypothalamus connects nervous tissue and endocrine tissue. It contains both type of cells, nervous tissue cells as well as endocrine tissue cells. It regulates endocrine system. It controls endocrine system with the help of nervous system. Next we have this thyroid gland, parathyroid gland, thymus, adrenal gland, pancreas. Pancreas is located in our digestive system near to the liver, and adrenal glands are located on the top of kidney. We have a pair of adrenal gland, two in number. We have a pair of adrenal gland, each gland on the top of right and left kidney. Next, this is about these glands. Next, we have this testis. Testis is the male reproductive organ, and this also serves as an endocrine gland because it secretes hormones which are responsible for male characters. This is the gland testis which is present in male only. Okay, as it is responsible for male characters, so this is present in male only and it is absent in female. This thing you have to keep in your mind. Next, we have this female endocrine system. In female also we have this pineal gland, pituitary gland, hypothalamus, thyroid, parathyroid, thymus gland, and pancreas, adrenal glands. And what is different from male is here we have this ovary. Now, ovary is the female reproductive organ. It also serves as an endocrine gland as ovary secretes many different type of hormones. This also serves as an endocrine gland, which is female reproductive organ present in female only and it is absent in male. In case of male, we have testis, and in case of female, we have this ovary. This is the only difference between endocrine system in male and endocrine system in female. Here, if we see in the neck region, we have thyroid gland and the parathyroid gland. This butterfly-like structure we have is thyroid gland, and below this we have this parathyroid gland. This is the where we have thymus gland. Okay, near to the heart we have thymus gland. This is our thymus gland. These are the glands which you have to remember, in your endocrine system. These are the few glands which you have to remember, and these are very easy to remember. You can just practice on writing them down. You will be able to remember these names of the glands: pineal, pituitary, hypothalamus, thyroid, parathyroid, thymus, adrenal, pancreas, testis, and ovary. These are the glands, and parathyroid glands are located near to the thyroid gland. Next, we have some important hormones in their functions which are given in your NCERT. So if we cover these hormones and functions, what will we learn? We will see growth hormone, their gland from where they secreted, endocrine glands, and functions of each hormone. These three things we will be doing when we read hormone every time. Whenever we read hormone, we see the name of hormone, the gland which secrete that hormone, and the function of hormone. These are the three things we have to read about every hormone, each hormone we are going to discuss in today's class. So here this table is given in your NCERT. So we are going to discuss it. Here we have first growth hormone. Growth hormone is GH. GH is growth hormone. As the name suggests, it is responsible for the growth of our body. Okay, this hormone is responsible for our growth of body parts, for our overall growth. Our height is also determined by this hormone. Height of a person is also determined by this hormone, growth hormone. How? Now there are certain levels of hormones in our body. Hormones are secreted in specified amount in our body. They are secreted in very little amount. Okay, in very little amount. Okay, and that amount is fixed in a healthy person. And if some hormone is secreted below that amount or in higher amount, then that will lead to the disease condition or disorder. In case of healthy individual, if this growth hormone is secreted in specified range in proper amount, then this will lead to good height. This will lead to good height of the person. If this hormone is secreted in higher amount in this will lead to extreme tall person. If a person has higher level of growth hormone in their body, then they will gain extreme height. That person will be taller, extreme tall. We do not need this much height, but this happens only in case of abnormality. If a person has higher level of growth hormone, this condition will be there, extreme height in higher level. Second case we have in very low amount. If this hormone is secreted in low amount, this will lead to the shortness in height. And if the person is very short in height, growth hormone is secreted in very less amount. Less amount means lower than the normal range. Then that person will be dwarf. Okay, then that person will be dwarf. Dwarf means very short person. This is the case of growth hormone. This hormone is secreted by pituitary gland, and this hormone is very important for us to gain a good height. So we can say what is the function of growth hormone. Now you have an idea what is the function of growth hormone. Function of growth hormone is to stimulate growth in all organs. This is the function. Next we have endocrine gland, thyroid. Thyroid secretes hormone T3 and T4. Thyroid hormones. These are the hormones secreted by thyroid gland. Now they regulates the metabolism for body growth. Okay, they regulate various chemical reaction in cell which happens during the metabolism, during the glycolysis, glucose breakdown, okay, and in all those reaction in respiration, all these things are controlled by, regulated by thyroid hormones. Thyroid hormone functions T3 and T4, they are secreted by thyroid gland and they regulates metabolism of the body. Next is insulin. Insulin is the hormone secreted by pancreas gland. It is secreted by pancreas gland, and the function of insulin is it regulates blood sugar level. In our blood we have sugar in the form of glucose. This we already read in respiration chapter, that we have glucose in our blood. Glucose is absorbed into the blood and then blood transfers this glucose to the different body parts where the glucose is needed. Now we have glucose in the blood. Cell will uptake this glucose from the blood, and this uptake of glucose from the blood is done with the help of this insulin. Insulin will regulate this process of uptaking glucose by the cells from the blood. So with the permission of insulin, glucose is taken out from the blood and utilized by the cells for their energy need. Insulin regulates blood sugar level. Say if cells consume glucose from the blood, then glucose level is decreased, glucose level go lower in blood. Okay, and in opposite case, if cell are not using this glucose, then glucose level will increase in the blood. To avoid both the conditions, to maintain a normal blood glucose level, we have this hormone insulin. This will regulate this level. This will decide that how much glucose should be used from the blood. This will be decided by insulin. Next we have testosterone. This is the hormone which is secreted by testis in case of male, and it is responsible for male characters. This we will discuss in detail in reproduction chapter. Ovaries. Ovaries are the female reproductive organ and they are endocrine gland as well. They secrete various hormone. If we write here name of any one hormone secreted by the ovary, although ovary secretes many hormones, but here I'm giving you example of one hormone which is progesterone. Progesterone is secreted by our ovaries. Okay, and ovaries is the female reproductive organ, and as it secretes hormone, it is endocrine gland, and progesterone is secreted by ovaries. But now function of hormone is it regulates menstrual cycle as well as female characters. Menstrual cycle we will discuss in reproduction chapter. For now, just you have to remember hormone name, hormone gland name, and the function. Next we have this adrenaline. Adrenaline is the hormone secreted by adrenal gland. Adrenal gland secretes this adrenaline hormone, and we have read this adrenal gland. Where are the adrenal gland located? These glands are located on the top of each kidney, and they secrete this adrenaline hormone, and this hormone is very important as it helps in stress tolerance. Whenever our body faces any stress condition, this hormone is released in the body. Next, we have releasing hormones. There are certain releasing hormones, okay, which stimulate pituitary gland to release hormones, and these releasing hormones are mainly secreted by hypothalamus, and these releasing hormone will further regulate the secretion of pituitary gland. They will order pituitary gland that now you have to secrete hormone, and at certain times they will not allow the secretion of hormones from pituitary gland. But I'm trying to convey you that secretion of pituitary gland is controlled by hypothalamus through releasing hormones. This is the function of releasing hormones, and these hormones are secreted by hypothalamus. And now here we have important endocrine glands and functions. First we have pituitary gland. And pituitary gland is located near to our brain. We often refer pituitary gland as the master gland. Why we say pituitary gland is master gland? Because it controls the secretion of other glands. It regulates their secretion. Pituitary gland will tell them when to secrete their hormone, when not or not. This gland regulates other glands through its hormones. So we say pituitary gland is a master gland. So let's say, for example, if I try to make you this more clear, we have this pituitary gland. Let's say we have here this pituitary gland. We can write down here pituitary, and here we have this thyroid gland. What will happen? This master gland, pituitary gland, will order this thyroid gland to make hormone. If it orders that you have to make hormones, you have to release hormone, then thyroid will release its hormone. If it orders that you no need to release any hormone, then thyroid won't release any hormone. Okay, so pituitary will send a message to thyroid gland whether it has to secrete hormone or no need to secrete hormone. So this is how this master gland regulates thyroid gland. As this is controlling thyroid gland, regulating thyroid gland, we are saying master gland. And this is one example. Also regulates other glands, like it regulates adrenaline glands, thyroid glands. Here we have growth hormone. Growth hormones stimulate growth and cell reproduction. This we have read, that it is responsible for human growth, for height. How much height a person will attain, it depends on growth hormone. And the nutrition, good nutrition, okay, a healthy diet plus growth hormone will lead to a good height. If you want to attain a good height, you should have a normal level of this growth hormone and a good nutrition, good habits. Okay, you have to do a lot of exercises, have to take milk, a good nutritious diet, and this growth hormone is must. So here we have this growth hormone. It stimulates growth and cell reproduction. You know, in our body we have many cells, countless number of cells, and these cells keep dividing. And this division happens due to the growth hormone. Growth hormone regulates the cell division. So here we have thyroid stimulating hormone. Next we have TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. Wherever you come across this stimulating, okay, stimulating, it means releasing. It will tell the other part, the other gland, that you have to release this hormone. Thyroid stimulating hormone regulates thyroid gland activity. Thyroid gland will receive this hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, then only thyroid gland will produce its hormone T3 and T4. Understood? Otherwise it won't secrete its hormone. In only one case it will secrete its hormone, if thyroid gland is getting this message, thyroid stimulating hormone, from pituitary gland, then in that case only it will secrete, thyroid gland will secrete its hormone T3 and T4. So thyroid stimulating hormone is regulates thyroid gland activity. And same goes with adrenocorticotropic hormone, ACTH, which stimulates the adrenal gland to produce cortisol hormone. Okay, cortisol is hormone which is secreted by adrenal gland. All right, and its secretion is stimulated. Stimulate means making to secrete. When adrenal gland will receive a message from pituitary gland in the form of adrenocorticotropic hormone. Then only adrenal gland will secrete this hormone cortisol. Prolactin stimulate milk production in females. It stimulates milk production in females. This hormone is present in females only, and after pregnancy, milk feeding is done by female. This you know, and this milk feeding is done with the help of this prolactin hormone. The milk in female body is formed due to a hormone, okay, and that hormone is stimulated by prolactin. All right, in case of females. This is about pituitary gland, master gland, and its hormones and functions. These are the four hormones: growth hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, adrenocorticotropic hormone, prolactin. Next, we have this thyroid gland. Thyroid gland, okay. Thyroid gland produce. You must have heard of this abnormality, disease, thyroidism. Person usually say कि इसको thyroid हो गया है, okay. एक बीमारी है, disease है. Condition कब होती है? When does this condition occur? When thyroid gland function abnormally. When thyroid gland doesn't secrete its hormone thyroxine and triiodothyronine in proper amount, then it will lead to thyroidism. And there are two types of thyroidism. एक hyperthyroidism, second is hypothyroidism. Hypo means less secretion and hyper means higher secretion. So we have two type of thyroidism. Thyroidism एक बीमारी होती है, एक disease होती है, and this happens due to the abnormal secretion of thyroid hormones. Okay, thyroid hormones are secreted by thyroid gland. This is for your general knowledge. In day-to-day life, you must have heard of this disease condition, thyroid. So now you know the reason behind thyroidism, the reason behind this disease, thyroid. So this is of two type: hypothyroid, hypothyroidism. Thyroid gland produce hormone that regulates metabolism, energy production, and growth. It mainly regulates metabolism of the body. Okay, in metabolism we have digestion of food, respiration, excretion, and all those reactions which happens during these processes comes under metabolism. Okay, breakdown of protein, formation of protein, breakdown of carbohydrates, formation of glucose, for breakdown of glucose. These are metabolism processes, and it thyroid hormones will regulate these metabolism processes. You have to just remember this thing, that they regulate metabolism and production also comes under metabolism, and then it regulates growth. If a person has good metabolism, then that will lead to a good growth, but if a person has poor metabolism, then that will lead to poor growth. Understood? Now, the main hormones which are secreted by thyroid gland are thyroxine, T4, and triiodothyronine. These are the two hormones which are secreted by thyroid gland. Clear? Okay. It is very easy. Now you just have to remember thyroid gland, T3, T4 hormones which are secreted by thyroid gland. T thyroid, T3, T4, TT. Okay. Now we have next adrenal gland. Adrenal glands are located on the top of kidneys. Okay, left kidney, right kidney. We have a pair of adrenal gland. So we have two adrenal gland, a pair, and they are located on the top of each kidney. Hormones essential for stress response and metabolism. What kind of hormones are secreted by adrenal gland? They secrete stress response hormone and metabolism. Now, what is stress response? We should be knowing now what is stress response. Stress response is when we face any stressful condition. Like say, if you have to give a speech in your morning assembly in school, then many of you might face increase in your heartbeat, a little bit swelling. Okay, your skin turns pale yellow. All right, this is a stress condition. This is a stress condition for your body. Okay, and these response, sweating, increase in heartbeat, pale yellow color, all this shakiness in voice, this is due to stress response. These are the symptoms of stress response. This is stress response, and this stress response is useful for body, because stress response is useful for our body. Okay, stress response is used to face certain kind of stress, okay, stressful conditions. Now, to generate this stress response, we have these hormones: adrenaline, epinephrine and noradrenaline. Norepinephrine. Okay. Adrenaline, noradrenaline. You have to remember these two names, which are secreted by adrenal glands. These hormones are secreted by adrenal glands, adrenaline and noradrenaline. Now, they trigger the fight or flight response, increasing the heart rate, energy availability, blood pressure. Okay, so now what happens during the stress response? Let's say, for example, a person, or you can imagine yourself, you were going on a walk, or let's say jogging. Okay, jogging, and he suddenly shows a dog. Suddenly, a dog appears in front of him, and the dog is growling or barking. What will you do now in this case? Let me change the slide here. What is the condition? A person is on walk or jogging, let's say. All right? Or you can also imagine yourself in this scenario. What will and suddenly a dog appears in front of him. Suddenly a dog appears in front of him, and the dog is growling, and the dog is growling and barking. So what will happen in this case? If this will create stress response. This will create a threat in you. You will be afraid of that dog, right? If he's barking on you, then this is the normal case. If we see a dog and the dog is barking on us and continuously growling, what will happen? We will be afraid of that dog. So this thing will happen, and if we're afraid of that dog, our body will, our heart rate will increase. We will try to run. We will try to escape from that dog. This is the thing we do. All right, this is the thing everyone do in the case of whenever they feel any kind of threat. So whenever any organism, any animal, including us, feel any kind of threat, we have this stress response in our body. Let's say this dog barking is a threat for our body. We will be afraid of this condition. So if there is a threat, our body feels threat, then what will happen? Our body will try to cope up with that threat. Our body will try to get away from that threat, will try to escape. Now, for this escaping in our body, there is a stress response, and this stress response will help the body to escape out from this threat. And what is stress response? Stress response is when, if in this case, if that person runs, then what will happen? If he runs, what will happen? His heart rate will increase, he starts sweating, his skin turns pale yellow. These are the certain conditions which happens in this scenario, and obviously he is threatened due to this whole condition, due to the growling and barking of dog. So now he's trying to escape, trying to protect himself from the dog. So if he's trying to protect from the dog, then he will run, and the stress response is generated in the body, and this is flight or fight. This is the response of flight or fight, or we can also say this is the stress response. The person, the animal, the organism will try to escape from this condition, from this stress response. And this is for the good, for the well-being of body. We should have this stress response to cope up any kind of threat. So our body have this stress response to cope up threat. Whenever our body feel any threat, we have this mechanism to cope up this stress, the stress response. All right, now we understand this thing. And how does this response, now the question is how this stress response generated? This stress response is generated with the help of hormone adrenaline. Okay, adrenaline is responsible for the stress hormone cortisol, and hormones secreted by adrenal gland. The hormones which are secreted by adrenal gland are responsible for this response. Understood? So this is the case of stress response. Hope you understood what is stress response. So adrenaline and noradrenaline triggers the flight or fight response, increasing the heart rate, energy availability, and blood pressure to cope up the stress condition. And this stress can be anything like dog threat, any other animal's threat, public speaking, fear, all those kind of fear will also generate this fight or flight response, stress response. Imagine if you are giving speech anywhere and you have a anxiety before, you have a increased heart rate before your speech, and you have a sweating in, then this is stress response. This is due to stress response, because this condition you are not adapt, yet you are not adapt to this condition, you are not adapt to giving speech, your mind is not adapt, your body is not adapt for this thing, so your body try to escape from this. Okay, and to deal with this, our body gives stress response, and the stress response is due to adrenaline. In stress condition, adrenaline is secreted in our body, and this will generate stress response to cope up the stress, whatever kind of stress anyone faces. This hormone is secreted at that time, adrenaline. All right. Now, cortisol. Cortisol is another hormone which is secreted by adrenal gland. It regulates metabolism, immune response, and stress levels. All right. This is about adrenal gland, thyroid gland. Thyroid gland secretes T3, T4 hormone, and adrenal gland secretes adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol. And you have to remember the stress response. You can remember any example of speech or any animal, any like dog, lion appears in front of you. What is your body response? That is stress response, and you can correlate this adrenal gland with this example. Now, this is about your. This is we have done adrenal gland, thyroid gland, pituitary gland. These were the important glands which are mentioned in your NCERT. So we have discussed these glands. Next we have a important question. Next we have a very important question. We have a very important question. Why it is important for us to have iodized salt on our salt in our diet? If you see ad of salt in ad, what they tell us. If you have seen the salt, what is there in that ad? Companies try to tell us that this salt contains, that our salt contains iodine. They give this ad that this salt is higher in iodine content, and if you try to, you have salt in your home, and whenever in next time you you buy any salt, try to read content on the salt. What are the contents? You will find there iodine. Iodine is the main content of salt, which we intake in our diet, which we intake in our food. So the main content of that is iodine. All right. So the best salt is which contains iodine. So companies advertise their salt as, we have our salt is more iodized, this. So why it is important for us to have iodized salt in our diet? Why our body need iodized salt? What is the significance of iodized salt? So significance of iodine. Iodized salt means iodized. First you need to know iodized salt means the salt contains iodine. Salt contains iodine. What is iodine? You must have read this in your chemistry book. Chemistry chapter. What is iodine? Iodine is element. Iodine is a element, and this element is necessary for our body functioning. So we have to take this iodine from our diet, and so we use for this purpose iodized salt. Now, iodine is necessary for the thyroid gland to make thyroxine hormone. Now we know that iodine is necessary for our body, but where does it required in our body? It required in our body for the functioning of thyroid gland. We have read thyroid gland, right? And there I have also told you that disease thyroid, abnormality thyroid, which many people faces this issue, thyroidism. Now, to avoid this condition of thyroidism, one should take this iodine through diet. So iodine is necessary for the thyroid gland. How? Because iodine helps to make thyroxine hormone. Thyroxine hormone means T3 hormone and T4 hormone. These hormones are the thyroid hormones which are secreted by thyroid gland. And iodine is the main constituent of these hormones. These hormones are made up of iodine. So we need iodine for the formation of thyroxine hormones in the thyroid gland. thyroid gland need iodine for its functioning. Why? Because thyroid gland has to make these thyroxine hormone T3 and T4, and for that purpose it needs iodine. So now we know iodine is required by thyroid gland. It is necessary for thyroid gland functioning. So now if we intake iodine in proper amount through our diet, then thyroid gland will function normally. And if we increase amount of iodine in our diet, then what will happen? Hyper hyperthyroidism. And we decrease iodine, if we decrease iodine amount in our diet, then what will happen? Hyposecretion of thyroid hormone. Hypo means less, hyper means more, high. So thyroxine regulates carbohydrate, protein and fat metabolism in the body so as to provide the best balance for growth. Now, iodine is needed for thyroid gland. This we know. What is the function of thyroid gland? Thyroid gland secretes T3, T4 hormone, thyroxine hormone. Further, these hormones regulate metabolism. Process of carbohydrate, protein and fat metabolism. These processes are regulated by these hormones. And for these hormone, iodine is needed. So we can say that for the metabolism of carbohydrate, protein, fat, we need iodine. We can say this thing now. As we have studied, thyroid needs this iodine and for thyroxine hormone synthesis, and the thyroxine hormone will regulate carbohydrate, protein and fat metabolism. So we can say that iodine is required, is necessary for growth, for carbohydrate, protein and fat metabolism, and this will further provide the best balance for growth. So whenever this question comes, why is it important for us to have iodized salt in our diet, you have to answer that iodine is necessary for thyroid gland, for its hormone production, and consequently those hormones are essential for the regulation of carbohydrate, protein and fat metabolism in the body. Very simple answer. You have to write these two lines only. And these things I have told you for your general knowledge. Iodine. Next, here we have. Sometimes we come across people who are either very short, dwarf, or extremely tall, giants. These are the two conditions. If we see a person extreme tall, then that is giant. And if we see a person extremely short, then that person is dwarf. Why so? Why they are dwarf and very tall, extreme tall? Why is this case? This case we have discussed already. This is due to growth hormone, right? Right now, this is due to growth hormone. Have you ever wondered how this happens? Growth hormone is one of the hormones secreted by the pituitary. This we know, and this growth hormone further regulates our height through cell division. Now, if this growth hormone is secreted in very lower amount, then the person will be dwarf. And if this growth hormone is secreted in higher amount, then the person will be giant, extreme tall. This is the reason behind this dwarfism and extreme tall. Have you know the answer? Okay. And apart from growth hormone, healthy nutritious diet is also a point to be considered for the growth of child. So everyone should consume healthy food and do workout and exercises for proper growth of the body. Understood? Clear? So these were the questions given in your NCERT, and we know the answers of this question. Do you know? And here we have again a question. See, whenever you read any topic, try to put try to put questions in that topic to understand the topic in a better way. So here now we have some questions related to endocrine hormones. Do you know anyone in your family or friends who has been advised by doctor to take less sugar in their diet because they are suffering from diabetes? You must have heard of this term diabetes. This is very common. This is a common problem in today's world. In today's society, this is a common medical problem, diabetes. There are many persons who are suffering from diabetes. So in case of diabetes, the doctor will advise to the person who is suffering from this disease diabetes that he or she have to consume less sugar in their diet. Why so? Why less sugar? Why less sugar? Not iodine. What is the reason behind this? There is logic. So see, first you need to know what is diabetes to answer this question. And these questions are given in your NCERT. CBSE can ask you these questions. Diabetes, and you should know these things, like diabetes is a very common problem, and you should know for your general knowledge also. Diabetes. Diabetes is a disease condition, abnormality. And when does it occur? It occurs due to insulin deficiency in the body. Insulin deficiency. Now, what is insulin? Insulin is the hormone secreted by pancreas. This we know. Now, if insulin is not secreted in proper amount, the sugar level in the blood rises, causing many harmful effects. What is the function of insulin? Insulin helps in metabolism of glucose. Metabolism of glucose. And how does it helps in the metabolism of glucose? How does it helps in the metabolism of growth by aiding in by uptake aiding in uptake of glucose. Let me erase this and take a new slide. Let me take a new slide to make you clear this thing. Diabetic condition, diabetes, logic behind diabetes. In diabetes, if a person is diabetic, that means that person is suffering from this disease diabetes. In diabetes, what happens is, this is the disease which happens due to insulin deficiency. Insulin deficiency. Now you know the function of insulin. And what is insulin? Insulin is the hormone secreted by pancreas. Now, if there is deficiency of insulin, what will happen? What will happen? Let's say these are body cells, and this is bloodstream. This is bloodstream. Now, these body cells will depend in bloodstream. We have this glucose molecules, and these are cells. These cells require glucose for their energy needs, for their energy requirements. Alright, and glucose molecules are taken up by the cells for their energy requirements. For energy requirements, glucose molecules are taken up by the cell, and then further they broken down to release energy. Now, for the uptake of glucose from the blood, this is the bloodstream, and this we have blood, and these are the glucose molecule. And now for the uptake of these glucose molecule from the blood, we need insulin. We need insulin. With the help of insulin, this glucose is taken up by the cells from the blood. Now, let's say if insulin is deficient, let's say if insulin is deficient in the blood, insulin is deficient. Pancreas is not secreting insulin in a normal amount. Is the secretion of insulin is very less. Now what will happen in that case? Cell won't be able to take glucose. Cell won't be able to take glucose if insulin is if insulin level is increased. If insulin level is less, in that case our cells won't be able to take this glucose from the blood. And glucose, but we have glucose in the blood. It is the problem of cells that they are not able to take this glucose due to the deficiency of insulin hormone. But glucose is present in the blood, right? So glucose is, as we take food, as we take our diet, we are taking carbohydrates, and those carbohydrates are broken into glucose, and that glucose is absorbed by the blood. And now as we are consuming food, we are taking our diet, we are taking carbohydrates, those carbohydrates will be broken down into glucose, and that glucose will accumulate in the blood, and our cells are not able to take this glucose due to insulin deficiency. In that case, number of glucose molecules will increase in the blood, and as these numbers increases, this glucose increases in blood, this will lead to diabetic condition, diabetes. This will lead to diabetes. So what happen in diabetes? In diabetes, glucose level increases in blood many a time. So glucose is sugar. Glucose is a sugar. So if we have if we are not able to consume this glucose or sugar from blood, then this will start aggregating in the blood. The level of glucose will increase many a fold in blood. If insulin is deficient, our cell is not using this glucose. Then in that condition, various changes will occur in our body. Like changes there will see the changes in blood pressure. And this is all happening due to higher level of glucose in the body, and this is sugar. So to avoid this condition of high level of glucose in blood, doctor advised to a patient of that was suffering from diabetes, a diabetic patient, that he should avoid sugar or take less sugar, because in the blood of diabetic person there is very high amount of sugar is present already. So it is advised to take less sugar, as glucose level is already high in his blood. So now we know this, the reason behind this. Insulin is not secreted in proper amount and the sugar level in the blood rises, which causes many harmful effects. So it is advisable to take less sugar in case of diabetes. Next we have another very important topic. Next here we have differences between nervous system and nervous action and hormonal action. Nervous action and hormonal action. In nervous action we have read in part 1, and hormonal action we have discussed today. So you should be able to differentiate between nervous action and hormonal action. So to differentiate between nervous action and hormonal action, we have a first point. Nervous action occurs by nerve impulse. That those nerve impulses are carried through neurons. Nerve impulses are carried through neurons. So this we know. And hormonal action occur by the chemical hormones carried through the blood. In hormonal action, we have main molecules hormones, and in case of nervous action, the main thing is neuron. Nervous action, nerve impulse, and neuron. Hormonal action is hormone and blood. Okay. So nervous action occur by nerve impulses which carried through neuron, and hormonal action occur by chemicals or hormones carried through the blood, brain and spinal cord. Now the components of nervous system. Main components are brain and spinal cord, which is central nervous system, and they constitute the nervous system. And nervous system will further perform this nervous action. Now, in case of hormonal action, we have glands like thyroid, pituitary gland, and reproductive organs as gland. These are the components of hormonal action. Now, it occurs very fast, and hormonal action will occur slowly, as these molecules, these hormonal, these hormonal action occurs slowly because these are slow, because hormones are first transferred from one part to another part, from one part to another body part. So this is the reason why hormonal action is slow and nervous action is fast, as the nerve impulses transmitted through neuron in a very high speed. Okay. Now nervous action short lived and hormonal action are long lived. Means hormones hormones stay in blood or tissue for long time, and this action is very short. Nervous action helps in just millisecond. It just happens in millisecond. It is that short lived. Nervous action hypothalamus, these constitute hormonal action. This occur very fastly, this is slow. And nervous action are short lived and they are long lived. Right? This is about nervous action and hormonal action differences. Now, next we have key takeaways. Key takeaways of the chapter. Here we have key takeaways. To sum up the chapter, First, we have discussed hormones. Hormones are the chemical passengers, chemical messengers. See here we have this chemical messengers. These are the chemical messengers which transfer information from one body part to another body part through blood. Now, importance of hormone. Hormones are important for physiological processes, reproduction, homeostasis. In all these processes, we need hormone. We need hormone for the regulation of physiological processes like blood pressure, glucose level, all right, and similarly in homeostasis to maintain body temperature, to maintain fluid balance. What is fluid balance? Balance of water in our body. And in reproduction also we need many type of hormones. Endocrine system. Endocrine system. Today we have discussed endocrine system in male and female. In endocrine system, we have discussed integral part of endocrine system, which are glands and hormones and certain body parts. And these are the glands which we have discussed: pituitary gland, thyroid gland, testis, ovary, and adrenal gland. These are the topics we have covered in today's video. So, to sum up, hormones, importance of hormones, endocrine system, glands, pituitary gland, thyroid gland, ovary, testis, and what else? Pancreas, parathyroid, thyroid. These are the glands we have discussed today, and we have also discussed function, location of these glands, and what else? These were the topics, and we also discussed hormonal action, hormonal action versus nervous action. Nervous action is due to nervous system and hormonal action is due to endocrine system. And both the actions are required for the control and coordination of body. So endocrine system as well as nervous system are essential for control and coordination. Till now we have learnt this much, that both the systems are equally important for our control and coordination. And we have seen that how the endocrine system controls and coordinate, and we have also read in part 1 that how the nervous system control and coordinate our body parts, our body functioning, how these two systems regulates our body functioning, maintain our body functions. So this is about today's lecture. Hope I made you clear the important topics as per your exam point perspective, right? This is all about endocrine system. Next we have control and coordination in plants. That is part 3 and the last part of this chapter, control and coordination. With this part we will complete this chapter. So all the best and thank you.